I recently had somebody call me an amateur. And it took me a while to figure out that was what they were saying because they said, they spelled it wrong. And it looked like armature. So I'm going, why are they calling me an armature? So I finally figured it out. Okay, you're calling me an amateur. And of course, it's very interesting, you know, when you're on YouTube and you go and you look up somebody that has insulted you and they have no videos up, nothing, zero. And, you know, it's like, oh, isn't that interesting? The pot calling the pan black, whatever that saying is. Anyways, I am surprised. But I also want to say I have never said I'm a professional. I have been an artist now for 30 years, and I've been making a living doing my art, which was mostly glass and making jewelry from my glass. And so for somebody to call me an amateur, I go, okay, well, that's interesting. I have never claimed to be a professional artist. I am not Jackson Pollock. And my journey on YouTube now is almost 3 years old. And I pretty much, it's a journey. I have welcomed people to join me on my journey as I learn how to use products, how to paint different techniques, how to do portraits like the one behind me. And I've never once said, I'm a professional artist. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are really, really good. And they charge lots for it. Right now I charge nothing, I'm free. But yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. And, you know, we can't let that stuff get us going, you know, down. But I thought, you know, that was very interesting. And so, again, I'm going to tell you, if you say something nasty to me, I'm going to delete it. So don't bother. Just, you know, I finally figured that out because back when I've had my store, I have a gallery, art store slash bead shop that I've had for 26 years. And about 15 years ago, people started going online and they decided that they were critics. And you know, the ones that were really insulting and mean, they wrote books. And they would come in the store and they would decide that they were going to write up something. I forget what it's on that. It's on that thing that, you know, if you go on Google and you look for a store in an area, it will pop up and you can read all the crap. And, you know, these people, they have nothing better to do than put you down is very frustrating. So it used to really hurt my feelings. And since I've gotten on YouTube, I've gotten a little bit of a leathery skin now. So it doesn't bother me, but I also know where the delete button is. But on that particular thing that is public, they don't let you delete when somebody writes something that's really awful. And you know what? You need to walk in another man's moccasins before you can make judgment like that. So you don't know what's going on with somebody. It's like, you know, if you go to the store and the person behind the counter is kind of cranky, well, maybe their dog just died. You don't know. You don't know what happened. And, you know, it's like we're not all cranky all the time, but sometimes maybe we're cranky. And it's because something has happened. Anyways, I wanted to get that off my chest. And anyways, I wanted to like share a little bit about me. And I've been making glass beads now for over 30 years. I started doing it in 1995. And that's predominantly what my shop was. It started off as an art gallery back in 2000. And I was making my glass beads in there. And then I somehow morphed into a ginormous bead store. It was just insane. I bought this old building, and it was 1,900 square feet, and it morphed into a giant bead store, and I carried beads from all over the world as well as mine. But the main reason people came there was because of my handmade glass beads. So anyways, I've had my store for 26 years, and I got back into painting about 6-7 years ago. And because I had stopped, I just got into making jewelry so much. I also do silversmithing. It's like, jack of all trades, master at none. I don't claim to be a professional, and but people buy my art. I've been making a pretty humble living from it for the last 26 years. I'm finding that having a real brick and mortar store, it doesn't do as well as it used to. People used to come, my place was a destination, and I guess with the internet and everything being at the A store and you can buy anything online, it's put our bead stores out of business. And there's a lot of us that are closing. I'm closing this year after 26 years. And it's kind of sad because, after over 26 years, you meet a lot of people. I've had some great experiences where 10 or 15 years later, somebody will come in and they'll say, my son was in here, you showed him how to make glass beads, and he's now a glass blower. And that's pretty cool, That's what we're here for. We're here to inspire you to do art because it's good for your soul. And, some of us are artists in our hearts. And I wish that I had gotten into doing art a long, long time before I did. I got diverted thinking I had to become a professional. And it took up a huge chunk of my life, which I had to catch up. And I did. I caught up. So I'm going to tell you where I came from. I was originally born in Great Britain, and I moved to Canada when I was 12 years old. We immigrated, so I'm technically Canadian, and don't tell Mr. T. And anyways, I did all kinds of different things, and the worst thing I did is I got pregnant at 14. Which back then there was no such thing as abortions, or there was no birth control, and one of those things. So I had a child. I had it a week before I turned 15, actually. So that kind of set me back. So no more schooling, none of that stuff. So I was a single mom for a long time, and then I got into a business of my own. Well, I was a courier driver for a while, and it was called Pink Lady, and I used to deliver packages because that was back in the day when I think they were just starting to invent fax machines. I'm really old, guys. This was in the 70s. So in like 78, I was raising my daughter and I was working as a courier, and then I did that for a few years. And as a courier, you're an independent. You're basically working for yourself, so it was a good thing. And after that, I got into I have done many things in my life, and in 1981, I went into business as a balloon delivery girl. And I know, isn't that crazy? My girlfriend and I used to dress up as Playboy bunnies, and we would deliver balloons. And that was the rage back then. So it was kind of fun. And then I ran away on a carnival for a little while. And after that, living on the carnival was really, really hard because you would tear down at like 1 o'clock in the morning and then drive for 6 to 8 hours to get to your next destination. And that was when I started going, I think I need a lifestyle change. So I came back to Vancouver, Canada, and discovered that my partner was a complete flake, and she hadn't done a thing with our company while I had been busting my tail on the carnival. And anyways, it was crazy because my sister knew this millionaire, and he was kind of famous. And she said to me, she said, "Oh, you should deliver him some balloons." So I delivered him some balloons dressed as a Playboy girl, or playmate, whatever. And anyways, we ended up getting together, and that's a story for another day. And anyways, he was a big time stock promoter, and I always call him the Trump of Canada, because he was really well known, and he went by the name the Pez. And we were together for about 7 years. And in that time, he convinced me to become a stockbroker because he had something like 70 companies on the Vancouver Stock Exchange, and that was what his business was. It was all stock promoting. And he says, "Well, that's, you can do really well at that." And I did do really well at that. But I was not happy doing that. It was dog eat dog world. And it was a different world. Well, he finally proposed to me, and we got married. And after 7 years, the marriage only lasted 7 months because he was philandering around the true T way. So anyways, we broke up via the news media. I had, all of a sudden, the news media were calling me on my phone, and I had one of those crazy big phones in my car. And they're asking me what's going on with my marriage, because my husband was a very public figure up there. And I had no idea he had left me. So I ended up having a bit of a nervous breakdown. And at the time, my sister lived in Hawaii, and she said, "Just come to Hawaii." So I did. And I had not been to Hawaii for I guess about 10 years prior to that. And I fell in love with it. I ended up renting a house on the beach, and I bought an art supply store, not having a clue about art supplies. Could you believe that? It was crazy. And I ended up moving there, and my life began to change. I went from somebody that thought they had to be a multimillionaire to someone that was just like living. And living in Hawaii was a whole different world. And having an art supply store, and I learned from all the artists that were there. There was just amazing artists. My friend Sachi, she's an ex-Playmate of the Year for 1969, and she would teach me how to do portraits and how to paint. And then there was another gal, the gal I bought the gallery from, her name was Karen Novak-Neal, amazing artist, absolutely amazing. And she taught me how to do watercolors. And then there was another artist that was a silk painter. She taught me how to paint on silk. So I did all these different mediums. I mean, everything. I learned how to do everything, even oils. I didn't really get into pencil drawing, but because I believed I couldn't draw. And anyways, it was quite an experience. And then I ended up leaving Hawaii and moving to Oregon, and that's where I fell in love with glass, and that stole my heart for 30 years. And and now I'm back doing paintings. And you can see behind me, this one has taken me a few weeks to do, and she is big, to say the least. Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But anyways, that's kind of my story, and I just, I just want to let people know that I'm not a professional by any means, and I'm stumbling along just like you, learning how to use all this stuff. And I'll tell you what, from having that store, I bought that art supply store back in 1990. The type of art supplies that we have now are totally different to what we had then. And back then it was fine art, and it was just your basics. You didn't mess around with mixed media. You did watercolor, you did watercolor. If you did acrylics, you did acrylics. You didn't mix them up. And now anything goes, absolutely anything. And it's just unbelievable. And I love it. I love it. I'm always playing with different things, different mediums, and throw them all together. The canvas behind me, I have charcoal, acrylics, workable fixative on it. I have dripped acrylics, liquid acrylics. I've used thick acrylics, and yeah, I think I used some pencils on it too. So the way I was taught when I lived in Hawaii was totally different. I got a hair right in my eyeballs here. And it was totally different. It was totally a different world. And, they called it fine art. And fine art is purist. And so that's what I did. And so now the world has opened up, and you can do basically anything you want to do. And that's what I did on this canvas. I have put 2 separate videos up showing you how I started it, and basically the canvas underneath here is a recycled crappy canvas. It's one of those old Walmart paintings. Not even a painting, it was a glued on thing. It was glued onto the canvas, but it's a wrap canvas. and they're expensive, so I decided I would paint over it. So what I did was I put gesso, 2 layers of gesso over top of the original image, and then started layering my acrylics over top of that. And then I drew on my face with charcoal. I love using charcoal. I never used charcoal prior to the last year, which is kind of weird because I had a whole bunch of it left over from my store. So yeah, it's been a journey. So I'm still learning. I'm learning all the time, and I learn from fabulous artists on YouTube. There's a lot of them, and yeah, I hope you join me on this journey, because it is a journey, and it's fun, and yeah. And if you decide to take up YouTube, go for it. Don't hold back. Just start doing it. I'm up to 560 videos now, and I'm still learning how to do it. I still have a hard time doing this. I'm doing a video right now. I'm using Riverside, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know where the darn video is going. So roll with it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you on YouTube, and leave a comment and be nice. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all my subscribers, and I am doing a giveaway every once in a while, so keep an eye on me and sign up for the giveaway. I don't pester people with a lot of emails, because half the time I forget to send emails. So that's life, right? Go have some fun, make a mess, and don't take yourselves too serious. Okay? Bye for now.